Welcome to this explainer. Go ahead and pull up a chair, get comfortable, and really just think of me as your personal financial mentor for the next few minutes. Whether you are just starting out on your journey to understand money, or even if you've been at it for a while and honestly still feel a little lost sometimes, you are exactly where you need to be. Today, we're going to have a real, honest one-on-one coaching session. We're not going to stare at complicated spreadsheets, we're not analyzing stock charts, and we are absolutely not using confusing jargon. Instead, we're looking at the one single thing that actually controls your bank account, your mind. We're going to explore how to avoid personal financial biases and truly understand the psychology behind our money.
All right, let's start with a little honesty here. I want you to think back to a time recently when you looked at someone else's financial choices and just shook your head. Come on, have you ever judged someone for spending absolutely everything they have on a flashy, expensive new car while they're still living in a tiny apartment? Or maybe, you have a friend who decided to risk their entire life savings on some highly volatile cryptocurrency. When we see things like this, our immediate reaction is usually confusion, followed pretty closely by judgment, right? We ask ourselves, why do people make such crazy financial decisions? What on earth are they thinking? We immediately assume these folks are just irresponsible. But I want to let you in on a little secret. That assumption is a complete illusion. Section 1, the illusion of financial madness. The lie everyone believes.
We're incredibly conditioned to think that personal finance is completely black and white. That there's just one single logical correct way to manage money, and anyone who deviates from that path must literally be out of their mind. But the crucial point here is summarized perfectly by this quote from financial writer Morgan Housel. No one is crazy with money. I really want that to sink in for a second. No one is crazy. This is the core premise that's going to completely shift your paradigm today. Once you truly understand this single concept, I promise you, you will never look at your own financial choices, or anyone else's for that matter, the exact same way again. People do things with money that might look totally absurd to you, but to them, in that specific moment, it makes perfect, rational sense. Moving on to Section 2, understanding your mental map, far beyond math. Okay, let's really dive into this. If people aren't crazy, then why in the world do they do crazy things? Well, it's because we don't actually make financial decisions on a spreadsheet. We make them sitting at the dinner table, heavily shaped by our past. Every single one of us operates using what we call a mental map. Think of this map as an internal compass. It's built entirely from your very own personal life experiences, and it shapes exactly how you perceive and handle money. And here's the really fascinating part. Your personal experience with money makes up maybe 0.00001% of what has actually happened in the global economy, but it makes up about 80% of how you think the world actually works. Your tiny sliver of personal economic experience absolutely dictates how you view risk, how you view debt. Which brings us to Section 3, the weight of our stories, how the past dictates the future. Because we all have these very different mental maps, we all carry the weight of completely different stories. And this is exactly why perfectly intelligent, highly educated people can completely disagree on how to handle money. One incredibly smart person says investing in real estate is the only safe bet, while another equally smart person says, no way, real estate is a trap, you should only invest in the stock market. They aren't debating math here, they are debating their own personal histories. Imagine someone who grew up in an economy just absolutely suffering from hyperinflation. They watched their parents lose everything. They watched cash become completely worthless overnight. That person's mental map is going to value safety and security above absolutely everything else. Now imagine someone who grew up during a period of incredible economic stability and a booming stock market. To them, aggressive investing doesn't feel risky at all. It feels like a completely natural opportunity. If these two people meet, they're going to think the other is absolutely nuts. But neither is crazy. Both individuals are acting completely rationally based on their own context and their own history. Section 4, fear, hope, and self-compassion. Looking in the mirror.
So far, we've talked a lot about understanding others, but as your mentor, I want us to shift the focus inward right now. It is time to look in the mirror. Understanding that everyone has a different mental map isn't just a tool to stop judging other people. It's a truly vital tool to start showing some self-compassion. Look, we all have financial baggage. Every single one of us has made choices we regret. But beating yourself up over past financial mistakes is just not a wealth-building strategy. We have to break down this illusion of pure logic once and for all. Money is not just math. If it were really just math, everyone would just read a textbook, follow a basic formula, and boom, become a millionaire. No one would ever have credit card debt, and everyone would have a perfectly funded retirement account. But as we all know, that's just not reality.
The reality is that money is emotion, it's memory, it's fear, and it's hope. Those financial choices you made in the past that you're totally kicking yourself over right now, give yourself a break. Those choices made perfect sense to the person you were at that specific moment in time. You were driven by the fears you had back then, or maybe the hopes and dreams you were desperately trying to achieve. You were just operating on the mental map you had at that exact second. Section 5, the guide to self-awareness, the highest financial skill. This brings us to a really beautiful realization. If money is mostly driven by our internal emotions and past experiences, then the absolute highest financial skill you can possibly develop isn't learning how to analyze complex investment portfolios. The highest financial skill is learning about yourself. When you actually understand your own relationship with fear and hope, you become an incredibly powerful decision maker. So as your coach, I want to give you 3 practical, highly actionable steps to build this self-awareness before you make any future financial commitments. Step 1, stop comparing your financial life to others. Just stop. You don't know their story, and you definitely don't know their mental map. Step 2, start identifying the invisible patterns that influence you. Do you hoard cash because you grew up poor? Do you spend recklessly to project success to your friends? Acknowledge it. And step 3, always ask the self-awareness question before deciding. And this brilliantly illustrates what that self-awareness question actually looks like in practice. Before you buy that car, before you make that risky investment, before you take on that huge debt, you pause and ask yourself, am I choosing this because it actually makes logical sense for my current future goals? Or am I choosing this because my past experiences, my fears, my ingrained habits, my mental map taught me to act this way? This one simple moment of reflection acts as an incredible filter. It's literally designed to safely separate your past emotional baggage from your future financial success. Which leads us to our final thought for today. Remember, nobody is crazy. We are all just playing entirely different games on different fields with vastly different rules based on the lives we've lived. The real danger comes when you try to play someone else's game using your own mental map. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to ponder today. Are you playing your own financial game, or are you accidentally playing someone else's? Master your own psychology, understand your own map, and you will truly master your money. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and honestly, I cannot wait to see the confident, self-aware choices you make next.